I tell clients when they get a bonus, like not every dollar has to pay down the debt. Carve out like $500, $1,000. Go buy yourself something nice. You deserve it, but every dollar doesn't have to go pay down the debt. Otherwise, you're miserable if you're just servicing that debt for every dollar that comes into your household for the next 5 years. But reward yourself for doing the right thing.
Welcome to a Wiser Retirement Podcast. We believe the best financial advice should be conflict-free. I'm your host, Casey Smith, guiding you to financial freedom today. My co-host, Missie Beach, the world's greatest financial planner, and superstar Michaela Dowdy. Hello.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Great.
So what's happening? You guys, there's a lot happening, actually. Missy's moved offices. She's moved closer to my office. She's like midway now.
Yeah, I think I have the nicest office.
You think you do?
Yeah, don't tell anybody though.
She's got the biggest window. Well, no, you might actually have the biggest window. Never mind.
No, I think about the same size, maybe. I don't know. But you have new digs.
New digs, yeah. And my space heater. Oh, don't tell the management. Came with me.
Yes, Missy. I don't know what's going on with Missy. She likes South Miami temperatures, so she's always having her space heater going. I'm interested to see what's going to happen this summer in your space heater when it's 90 degrees outside. If it's still going to be going.
Yeah, it gets really warm in that room most of the time with the sun coming in, but normally it gets warm when it's like the winter because the heat's on.
Yeah, true.
So it might be cold. I don't know.
Well, if your client comes to see Missy and you're warm, feel free to turn her heater off.
I turn it off for all clients. Don't worry. It'll be okay.
We added a new advisor to the group, which will announce her in the coming weeks. And our planning associates now have new offices.
With standing desks.
So yeah, there's a lot of things happening here at Wiser with growth. We expanded, we added 2 offices and another workspace. And we're welcoming 2 new planning associates, one next week and one in August.
Wow.
That's exciting stuff.
So yeah, we have one of my alma mater, Berry College. We have a Berry College planning associate coming in. Our second Berry hire in this history of Wiser.
Wow.
And then we have one from Georgia Southern coming in August. So excited about that. That's about it, I think, on the Wiser front. So that's cool. I will say that a lot of new people here brings more birthdays and more celebrations as they're getting certificates and all that fun stuff. So we're going to be getting more cake.
Yes.
We all need a workout routine now. The Wiser 15 is real.
Yes, they call it the Wiser 15 when they get hired because we have so much fun eating out and eating sweets that they add 15 pounds. So. All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to talk about living in the moment while planning for the future. I want it now, Missy, and I also want it later.
Everybody does. Everybody wants it all the time. All the things all the time.
So how does that work into planning?
It's all about balance.
I mean, I think most people come to wealth management firms because they are accumulating assets. They want to be good stewards of those assets and focus that they're on their future, that it's secure. And I feel like most of them are doing most of the things they want to do now. I mean, some of them have bigger goals, I guess, but I don't know. I mean, we also have the meetings with people who want it just to jump on
everything.
They call
now.
them opportunities.
Yeah. all the things now.
I mean, occasionally we see crazy car payments.
Oh, yeah. $1,200 car payments.
Oh, I saw one at $2,500 recently. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What car was that?
And after insurance, it was $3,400.
Oh my. No way.
Yeah.
Jaw drop.
Yeah. I was just like, single guy, got to impress the women.
No, you don't.
Wow.
That's not impressive. If she knew he was paying that much for a car payment, she would not be
going on
impressed.
some good trips.
I don't think there was still a she, though. That's the problem.
Exactly.
Had the car, but there was still no she, maybe. I don't know. The car went away between meetings.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now he's got a better chance of finding a she.
With no car?
Oh, Marta.
Like literally.
Okay. Yeah, it's all about balance.
It is.
Yeah, okay. That was helpful getting him to find a balance.
I didn't help him. He helped himself.
Just because you shamed him.
Well, I didn't shame him at all. I was just thinking, man, that's a really cool car, and it's a single guy, and he's making good money, and he could make the car payment and take care of his future. Mm-hmm. So, I was like, well, some of us have country club memberships and multiple homes, and he just had a car, so.
But that's interesting that the car went away in between meetings during the planning process.
Yeah, because spending $3,400 a month for your ride is stupid.
Yeah, he realized what he could have in exchange for that in the future.
True. Maybe there's going to be another car eventually, but maybe that one's going to be $1,200.
But again, it presents do you want to live for now with that swanky car, or do you want a super duper retirement down the road investing that $3,400?
I mean, I think that new car makes you feel really good about things in life for 6 months. And then after about 6 months, it becomes a burden.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. I've made a lot of car mistakes. Not a lot, maybe a few car mistakes over the years. I mean, in my early 30s, maybe late 20s, I thought I needed an Escalade.
That's pretty funny. I can't see you driving that.
Yeah, well,
I mean, they're fine cars.
I didn't drive it.
Oh, okay.
It was for the wife.
Yeah.
But, so I bought an Escalade, and the payment was nothing what people pay for cars now. They were a lot cheaper back then. Mm-hmm. It's all relative, I guess. I'm not that old. But, I was like, this is stupid. I'm spending a ridiculous amount of money on this thing. And this is back when, I guess Auto Trader was still around, but it was more of eBay was a lot bigger than it is now. Mm-hmm. So I literally sold the car on eBay to some other poor schmuck that thought he had to have an Escalade.
Oh, good. Good for you.
And then I took the cash that I got from that, and I paid cash for a car, and we drove that for a couple years. Mm-hmm.
So you kind of got it out of your system.
We got it. Yeah, I kind of got it. No. I didn't get it out of my system because I paid a lot of money for that blue BMW that I bought a few months ago.
That got totaled.
Yeah, that was a bad move.
Yeah.
It was totaled. It was a cool car though.
Oh yeah, it was a great car. For all 2 months that I owned it.
Exactly.
So cars are kind of a funny thing because from my perspective, I'm a business owner, and so by me making that car a business car, I can do a Section 179. And I got to fully depreciate that car on my 2023 tax return. So you take a $100,000 car and you're in the 37% tax bracket.
Yes.
Right. And then you deduct that, which means I got to pay less tax. That net cost of that car for me was what, 60 grand, less than 60 grand. So basically I got over $100,000 car for 60 grand.
Because you are a legitimate business owner, not because you are trying to create a business
to buy the car.
Able to buy a car and write it off, like so many well-intentioned clients might want to do because their buddy did this.
Right. We have real income and a real business. Yes,
exactly.
Now, from my perspective, after I bought the car, I was excited about it. It was a X5M. So I have an X5, but it's the normal X5 with a sport package, of course. It looks fast, but it's not as fast as the M. And then 2 months after owning it, I was in a 6-car pileup on 575, and the front got smashed, the back got smashed, and they totaled it.
Yes.
So the good news is, we won't go into the long story, but the good news is that I got full reimbursed for everything I had in the car.
That's good.
So I came out net zero. Now, on my income for 2024, I now have to report that insurance payout as income.
Oh.
Right.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So it gets reported as income. So I need to make a decision on what I'm going to do. My old car, which was also in an accident, not our fault, the old BMW was not totaled like I thought it was going to be, which is why I bought the blue one. And so I'm driving that one again. And at this point, I don't care about cars.
Nope.
I'm over my X5M. You're probably going to see me driving down the street in a like a Toyota Corolla with roll-up windows or something. Do they still make cars with roll-up windows? I don't know if that's a thing.
No, but you could find an old one.
You could find an old one. I'm sure on Facebook Marketplace there's one for you.
Right.
Hey, this is a good example of where a 6-car accident, whoever's fault that original accident was, might have exceeded the limits of their original auto policy and gone into their umbrella policy.
Yeah, the driver that hit everybody was a Ram 2500 and pulling a heavy trailer who hit another Ram 2500 who hit me twice. The initial impact pushed me forward, and then he was still coming and hit me again second time. So that was that guy who caused the accident had $25,000 liability coverage. So what we had to do is had to file on our own insurance under underinsured.
Oh, that's brutal.
Because it ends up going against me for filing on my own policy. So that's unfortunate. There's no umbrella or anything like that from that driver. He was actually from Texas and had something called Dairyland Insurance. Never heard of it.
Interesting.
But yeah, everybody's okay. The car did its job. The manufacturing on the BMW is incredible. Mm-hmm. Where the back just crumpled up
like it should, yeah.
And the people I was just me in the seat, but if someone had been in the back seat, they would have been fine. We had glass everywhere. I had glass everywhere, but other than that, you would have survived it just fine.
Yeah.
So it did its job.
All right. So you find the car that you want and in the budget that you can afford, because it's all about balance, right?
I think it comes back to what is it you want to do. It goes back to our last podcast, actually, on goal setting. What is your goals and objectives? For me, I was just trying to stop and smell the roses for a minute and just drive a car that I thought was really cool. I'm not a super car guy. I'm not like, oh my gosh, look at that car. That's not me. I appreciate a nice car. But I think for me, the lesson in all this is just like, you just need a reasonable car to get you from point A to point B at this point. A safe one. Yeah. I'll pay more attention to safety ratings now.
No. Yeah.
But I just don't know that it's worth spending what people spend on these payments, especially now that these new car rates are going to be 7, 8, 9% for normal 800 plus credit people. You're going to be paying 6% or more for a car note.
Yeah, no 0% financing. No.
Well, there are, but not the cars you want.
Exactly.
There's 0% financing out there, but maybe not a car that you want to be driving. So yeah, I think it's, in the end, going back, I don't know for me personally that this is how I'm thinking now. I'd rather hire another person to be moving this business in the right direction than having a car note.
Because that's your balance.
Because that builds, because that builds this, which is better for everybody.
Exactly. Because you've realized that. But there's the stat that says most adults can't figure out or they feel like their life is out of balance. What's that stat?
It's like 1 in 3 people lack balance, or say they lack balance in their life. They can't figure it out. Like the work-life balance, which is huge currently. I feel like that's the big, huge phrase. It's like work-life balance. And I was thinking about it this morning. Y'all are going to laugh. In my bar class, which is an exercise class, if you're unfamiliar. I'm not pouring drinks this morning, but
not yet.
Not yet. But anyways, I was at my bar class, and there's this move I've been trying to do. And when I first started bar, I had no balance. Like I had atrocious balance. Like it was a whole thing. And the whole point of bar classes is that it is balance. It's supposed to be mind and your body and strength and all this stuff. And so it's a lot of like engaging everything. And I was thinking about it this morning as I was like in my crescent lunge of like trying to move my leg up. I was like, at the beginning, when I started trying to make the move, it was always like, I thought that it needed to come out of like my planted foot, because you have one foot that's on the ground and one's supposed to be up. And I thought all of my balance was supposed to come out of the one planted foot. And I was like, okay. And could not figure it out. Would look around and was like, why am I falling over? And everyone else is doing this beautifully. And I realized it was because it was like I needed to engage my core. And I also needed to like be moving my arms in a specific way to make sure there was still balance. And like I had to have my eyes forward on like the wall to maintain balance. Because it was like I had to be completely focused on myself and what my body was doing. And it's like we start the movement really slow so your body gets used to it. No matter how like often you've been coming to bar or whatever it is, it's like you still have to get your body acclimated to doing the movement. And it's one of those where I was like, okay, the moment I stopped or got my form right, had the foundation right, it was then I needed to stop looking around at everyone else. And I had to like look at the goal in front of me, which was the wall. At that time, it was like, okay, I got to look at the wall, not care about what Susie Q next to me is doing and how cute she looks doing this move. Like I need to be doing it myself and looking at my own goal. And like, that was my big thought this morning. I was like, like I used to be a wobbly girl and now here I am. Like,
because you tuned out the rest of the class.
Yes, you got to tune out the other noise. And it's like the same thing with this. It's like you've got to have your own goals and vision cast your own things, which people here know I'm huge on vision boarding. It's my huge thing. But you got to like focus on your own goals and like find your balance that way.
Well, yeah, there's this stat that research shows that 42% of people who write down goals are more successful in achieving those goals than the people that don't write them down. So, yeah, if you've got the goal, you're going to achieve it.
Are you curious why annuities keep coming up as a potential investment option? People are often told that annuities can effectively mitigate investment risks and help secure their financial future. However, annuities often benefit the salesperson and might not be the best choice for you as a consumer. To learn more about the various types of annuities, the negatives of owning them, and better investment alternatives, we have a free ebook on our website just for you. To download our ebook, Buyer Beware, Why Do They Keep Trying to Sell You That Annuity? Simply click the link in the episode notes or visit wiserinvestor.com/guides. Now let's get back to the episode.
I think it's one of the most common questions we get from middle-aged to younger people is, so how am I doing compared to all your other clients?
Yes. All the time.
Yeah. How do I stack up?
Yeah.
It depends.
I was, there's a guy, he was never really officially my mentor, but he would come and speak to different events. And I remember him saying that, you just have to keep your eyes focused on what your goals are and what your vision is, and stop paying attention to shiny objects.
Yeah.
And that's the part that people get.
No, exactly.
People are trying to create companies to deduct their lifestyle when they really should be creating companies to generate wealth. Your lifestyle comes with that over time, but that's the order of operation is what are you really good at? How can you build wealth? And you can do that without having to own a company. You can do that by being a W-2 person, right?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
And I wish you would say that again. Like you don't build a company to like create deductions and take expenses. You create a company to build wealth.
Right.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. The whole thing of deducting your entire life through an LLC. There's a lot of people sitting in jail who tried that in the 90s, and that's not a thing. But and occasionally, we have people who own airplanes and try to say this is a business of mine and I'm selling, whatever related to planes. And there's some legitimacy that I guess to that to kind of deduct the hobby, I guess, in the end. But in the end, there's no cheat code.
No.
Everybody thinks that there's a cheat code to all this stuff, and it's really not.
And you said that.
Especially when the IRS catches up with you.
That dangerous word hobby, when
Right.
you get the hobby loss rules mixed in there, just don't even go there.
So I think it's what we struggle with is delayed gratification, because we want everything now, and we have a younger generation coming up that seems to have gotten everything now. Right.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
You're different than I would say the commonplace, but I think a lot of people, I mean, you think about it all started with the microwave. Our meals started being faster.
Hot dogs in the microwave.
And then we could put whole meals and, lean cuisine or whatever in there. And then now it's, you don't have to wait to save up for that refrigerator or washing machine anymore. You can buy it and you can pay 29% interest, but for, $200 a month, it'll be yours and you can just get it. Right?
No, I was yesterday looking at a place because I'm going on a trip in a couple of weekends, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna look at Airbnb. Did you know you can do an Airbnb on that thing called Klarma or whatever now, where you only pay like a fourth of it, and you pay it?
Really?
I just
and
discovered
there's 0% interest on it, and I was like, where's the catch? Where is? And I couldn't find it, and I didn't do it, but I was like,
no, that 0%. Maybe that's an Airbnb thing.
Wow.
But no, there's something that my daughter needs for Horse World that is like $10,000. And I saw that Klarma app. And so I went and clicked on it and said, so instead of paying $10,000, I can just pay over 4 months. And it's 0%. It said 0 to 30% or something like that.
Oh, really?
And then as soon as I clicked on it, it's like, well, some items don't qualify for 0%. And this item did not.
Of course it
and
didn't.
They wanted like 28% interest over 4 months. I was like, forget that. That was not worth it.
No.
But anyway, I just discovered that myself, which is crazy.
Yeah. Which it's crazy though, because I literally I'd set aside like a budget for how much I wanted to spend on the upcoming trip, because it was like I'd already set aside the money for it, and I was like, okay, great, this opportunity's here.
Is this another Formula One trip?
Indy 500.
Indy 500 trip. This is the race girl right here, guys.
I am the race girl.
If you're looking for a girlfriend,
oh my gosh,
who's into racing.
Oh gosh.
You can't just be NASCAR though. You have to be.
No, it's IndyCar and Formula One.
Yeah, IndyCar
NASCAR
and Formula One.
I keep up with, but not near as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. IndyCar first, Formula One second. The rest kind of just follow. But anyways, yeah. So I've had this I use our Betterment platform for it, which is what all of our clients use, the Flight Path, and you can create these little goal buckets. And so I have one. It's a picture of Lando Norris is the face of it.
The driver.
I didn't even know you could change the image.
Yes, you can. Y'all can't see it you can't see it on the advisor side. You can only see it on the personal side. But it's just a picture of Lando. It's like where my savings go for. Originally, it was supposed to be for a European Formula One thing, and now I've kind of expanded it to just motorsports in general. So the opportunity kind of presented itself for me to go to the Indy 500 in the month of May this year. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I have it saved. I really want to do this. I'm still in my young 20s, I want to say, even though I'm getting mid-20s, and that's okay. But, I'm like, I don't have any responsibilities.
What did you say at lunch yesterday? About is it DiCaprio? If you were dating DiCaprio, you're almost about to get
You've almost aged
terminated.
out.
You've aged out of being dated by DiCaprio.
Yeah, Leonardo doesn't want me almost anymore. That's okay. He can stay with his 19-year-old, I guess. Yeah. So I've had that saved, and it was looking at it, I was like, okay, this is how much I want to spend. And I got on Airbnb, and I really thought about it for a second, being like, okay, it's over what I wanted to spend. But then there's this little okay, but you could get it for $200, and, every other week. And I was like, okay, this is an idea. And then I was like, no, what am I doing? Why am I even considering this? Because it was the 0% got me. And I was like, no, what are you thinking? Why are you going to spend more money? And I was like, no. And then thankfully I didn't, because one of my friends ended up being like, just stay with me for the weekend. And I was like, great. But
so let's circle this back around to life is about balance. So walk me through this. Tell me how I'm supposed to live in the moment, but also plan for the future.
I think the huge thing is you got to pay yourself first, like we say all the time. I think that's what gives you the freedom to live in the moment, is having savings set aside, which I guess knowing what to save for is your first goal though too, is figuring out what you want out of life.
Defining your target.
Defining the target, defining what your goals are, and then being able to create that plan of okay, I'm going to save this amount to this goal each month and this amount to this goal. And then once the opportunity presents itself, you then have the ability to do that without this fear of, oh, I'm going to overspend for my monthly cash flow. It's no, I've already saved for this. or it's, those kinds of things where you have the tire goes flat and you need to buy a brand new tire. You already have that in your emergency savings, those kinds of things.
So it says that research shown that people who write down their goals are 40% more likely to achieve them than those who don't. Mm-hmm. So probably putting this down on paper or in your notes section of your phone or something, just document. I have a hard time believing this. Where'd you guys get this stat? Only 3% of the population sets goals?
I think where that was coming from was it was like only 3% set goals that are like something that they truly want to achieve. It was like kind of like your mindset into it.
Yeah.
And it was like 3% setting goals just throughout like the year. It's not just like your New Year's resolution. It's like 3% are really looking forward and being like, okay, this is an attainable goal for me. And then this is how I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I set my kids down, well, my older two, who are like super competitive, but I set them down and say, all right, guys, we're spending a lot of money in golf and horses this year. So what's the goals? What are we trying to achieve? We're not just riding horses around. We're not just playing rounds of golf. I mean, what are we trying to accomplish? And I make them write it down. And then midway through, we say, hey, this is where we are versus our goal right now, or we need to modify it. We have an injured horse right now. So we're having to modify that goal slightly. Ethan's not playing really good golf right now. So we're modifying that goal right now to say, okay, this is my new objective based on what I'm struggling with right now. So it's just, it's life.
Yeah.
Those are life things. We say goals here all the time.
At the end of the planning process, every action item is written down. And every 100-day follow-up, it's written down.
I call those the rocks. Those are the rocks you got to move to get to your goal. You got to do these 5 things when you finish the planning process to go conquer your goal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's the action plan, right? So the action plan coming out of your goal planning sessions, like these are the things I got to do. These are hurdles, the doors I have to get open to move forward. And the last one here is the one I'm not really good at. Celebrate your hard work. By the time I've finished one goal, I knew I was going to get there probably 3 months prior, and I'd already picked out a different goal. And so you kind of gloss over it. We keep going, but I think people around here are good about saying, "Hey,
where's the cake?
We hit. Where's the cake? That's right. We set this goal." But you have to be good at that. That's what I tell people who are just struggling with debt or trying to get out of debt. It's like, you can't go 18 months of just rice and beans.
No.
And just, struggling.
Austerity measures.
You
that
have
does
to
not work.
You have to take a break from the work occasionally and go do something fun.
Exactly. Like I tell clients when they get a bonus, like not every dollar has to pay down the debt. Carve out like $500, $1,000.
Yeah.
Go buy yourself something nice. You deserve it, but every dollar doesn't have to go pay down the debt. Otherwise, you're miserable if you're just servicing that debt for every dollar that comes into your household for the next 5 years. But reward yourself for doing the right thing in moderation.
William and I had a client yesterday, and they're doing really well, but their probability dial was in the blue, and they said, "Well, we have a 97% chance of not running out of money." I said, ideally you would be around 85 because our software processes things, and so I had to explain it to her again. And I basically said, well, you're eating rice and beans for no reason. And she goes, my husband's Cuban. That's all we eat is rice and beans. That was the first time my rice and beans joke had ever come back with that response. But I thought that was pretty funny.
That's Cuban. I like that.
All right. So we're going to celebrate our hard work. We're going to realize that the people around you, statistically speaking, living paycheck to paycheck, they buy things they can't afford, and you gotta stay in your lane and do you.
Yes. Stop comparing yourself to the people around you because you don't know what's going on behind their closed doors.
Exactly.
I tell my kids all the time. I said, you go to a school, you see these humongous houses. In some cases, they're rich and wealthy, but I tell them there's a difference between rich and wealthy. Rich means you make a lot of money, but you basically are spending it all. And wealthy means that you have stockpiles of wealth building. You have multiple properties, or you have a large investment accounts, but those things are mostly hidden. You don't see those, right? So wealth is hidden. So you to be wealthy, you look very different. And so our clients are wealthy. They come in or they're acquiring wealth, and they come in and they drive the Hyundai, they drive the Toyota. There's a recent study I saw. Some of the poorest people in America drive Toyotas. Some of the wealthiest people in America, the top 1%ers, also drive Toyotas.
Really?
Yeah. It was Toyota at the bottom end of the bar curve, Toyota at the top end, and then in the middle, where all the rich people are, was Lamborghini, Ferrari, all these, all these exotic cars, right?
Your
BMW, your Lexus, all that was in the middle of the curve. And so the wealthiest people in America are not necessarily how you see them on Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah, well, Warren Buffett, he drives like some old.
He has a Honda Civic, but yeah, I actually saw him in Omaha one time, and he literally got in. Someone was driving it for him, but he got into a front seat of a Honda Civic.
A driver for a Civic. Yeah. See?
Well, I think it was a friend of his. They were at the hotel that I was at for a conference, and I looked at him and I was like, "That's Warren Buffett." And then I was kind of followed him out the exit, see where he was going. He got into a Honda Civic.
Enough.
That's wild.
All right. Well, these are all things that we love to talk about with our clients. And if you guys listening are interested in starting the financial planning process, you can do that. And these are things we talk about, just more centralized to just you. We do have a YouTube channel. It's called A Wiser Retirement. We have a couple of videos we've linked to in our show notes, a blog as well. And then other podcasts you might want to listen to is episode 219. Do you have a wealth preservation plan? And episode 221, how to prioritize financial goals. I love the financial goal conversations. And then we have a link also to kind of our show notes, I guess, of this episode. It was a Wall Street Journal article about living in the moment versus planning for your future. So if you want to read more in depth about this topic, I would point you to that Wall Street Journal article. Ladies, thanks for your time, and thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.